Hi everyone, so today I am officially 1 week sleeved and I am going to talk to you about my operation day experience. So if you're interested, please stick around. So I was operated exactly 1 week ago today. Um, I can't believe a whole week has already passed. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over exactly step by step what went down and exactly how I felt at each step. So I had to be at the hospital for 6:45 in the morning, which is basically I would be one of the first people operated that day. And I live not too far away, so I left at about 6:30 and arrived at the hospital. I checked in, and at 7 o'clock they opened the doors for people being operated on. So I was in with the people who were in for just a day surgery, but seeing as how I was going to be hospitalized afterwards, basically what they do is they just send your stuff to your room and you get operated on. They did the initial questionnaire asking the basic questions. How long had it been since I'd eaten, which I had to have stopped eating for midnight, and I could drink up until 5 o'clock in the morning. So I had followed the rules, everything was fine, and they continued to ask their questions, and then I got changed. And the nurse came actually relatively quickly to come and get me to take me to the operating room. So I walked to the operating room, seeing as how there was nothing wrong with me at the moment. And instead of bringing in a bed and switching out a bed, you just basically walk in your gown to the room. And they had, for people getting that kind of surgery, they expect people to be a little bit bigger. So it was kind of nice that the hospital gown that I had was a big hospital gown, so you don't have to like put on like one hospital gown and use the other hospital gown as a cover up for the back. And so I walked into the room and I was scared out of my mind. I had said goodbye to my dad who had taken me to the hospital, and I was really happy that he was with me. And so I said goodbye to him, and he went to the waiting room where he left because I knew that the operation was going to be a couple hours. And a couple hours takes an hour and a half, about I think 90 minutes. And so I walked into the room and there was people waiting for me, and they always keep the surgery room really, really cold. So they get you to lay on the table, and as soon as you lay on the table, they kind of switch out your hospital gown with hot blankets so that you don't freeze. And they immediately start plugging you in. So they put in the heart monitor plugs. For anyone who's ever had an ECG, it was kind of like that. And then the anesthesiologist, he plugged in my, he tried to find a vein. I think it took him a good 10 minutes before he found a vein. It's never very easy for them to find a vein. And I forgot something. Right before they took me in, they gave me a pill that I had to drink, and they told me that it was just to help protect my stomach. And they made me drink this solution in a bottle. The solution, I'm saying a lot, I'm sorry. If I have to give you a description of the taste, it almost tasted like I was swallowing down salt water. And when I looked at it quickly, I saw the word saline, but it might have been mixed with some other kind of medication, I'm not sure. And so it wasn't disgusting. It was just awkward and strange to drink something like that. So the anesthesiologist, he finally found a vein, and he talked me through it the entire time, saying that right now he was just injecting regular liquid. And in the meantime, the actual surgeon came in to see me and said, "Hi, how are you?" And I told him that I was freaking out, that I was scared. And he was really nice. He said it's normal to be scared. It would be abnormal if I wasn't scared. So that it was okay. Don't worry. Everything was going to be okay. But, I mean, it's hard to tell your brain it's going to be okay. I have this huge fear of dying. So even though they put you to sleep, if you don't wake up, you don't want to die. So I was scared of that, or having something really horrible happen. Or so I was freaking out. And I had a fear tear, like, rolling down the side of my face. Then the anesthesiologist told me that things were going to start spinning, and a woman behind me a nurse behind me put a mask over my mouth, and she told me to breathe through the mask. And I hate those masks because you can breathe in really easily, but you can't exhale. So it creates like a pressure when you're trying to exhale, and it makes you want to take it off your face because it almost feels like as if you can't breathe. So things started spinning, and I'm staring up at the lights ahead of me, and it was really strange because when I had my gallbladder surgery, I remember feeling tired, like my eyes were closing and I was forcing them to stay awake. But this was really, and I finally fell asleep, and then I had the whole like wake up in the recovery room. But for this surgery, it was like the room was spinning, and I remember my eyes felt like they rolled in the back of my head, and then they came back, and I could see people standing further away, and I was like, why am I not falling asleep? Why is it taking so long? And then slowly I started to realize that I had already fallen asleep, and I was in the wake-up room, and I was seeing people moving around. So that was kind of weird. It was almost as if I didn't even close my eyes. I just rolled my eyes in the back of my head, kind of like I looked up kind of, and it was done. I have to say that it hurt a lot. I didn't expect it to hurt as bad as it did. Well, I mean, I knew that it was going to hurt, but I didn't think that it was going to hurt where it hurt. And for me, it felt as if someone had taken a crowbar and slammed me right in the middle of the back with it. It hurt so bad in my back. For anyone who's ever had a gallbladder attack, it was, think of your worst gallbladder attack. If you feel it right behind your back, right underneath your shoulder blades, right in the center of your back, it hurt there, like worse than any gallbladder attack I had ever had. And I was telling them, it hurts in my back, it hurts in my back. And they were saying, I heard the woman say that they had given me 2 shots of fentanyl, and I wanted fentanyl. But, I mean, if it's by a doctor, I imagine it's fine. But you only think of, like, horror stories online of people being addicted to fentanyl. And then I was saying it hurts, so they gave me a shot of Demerol intravenously, because I don't remember them sticking it into my arm or anything. So usually Demerol, when they inject you with Demerol, it's intramuscular, but I guess they must have put it directly into my saline solution or right into my veins, because I don't remember being picked. And it hurt a lot. And I remember lying there and trying to like place myself slowly, trying to like rock back and forth my back, but it wouldn't go away. And then it's kind of hard to remember because I was falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep. Every time I would close my eyes, I would like fall asleep again, and I kept wanting to close my eyes. And every now and then I would hear someone say my name and say like, it won't be long, we're trying to prepare your room for you. So I guess I didn't have a bed on the floor that I was going to ready yet. So it took a lot longer because there was no room ready. So I stayed in the recovery room for a long time. I think in total, I was operating in the recovery room for 3 hours just because I didn't have a room for them to take me to. And then eventually they pulled me out. They said the room was ready, and they wheeled me down the hall. And I remember hearing my dad's voice saying my name, like as if asking if he should follow. And they said, yeah, follow, come along. But the entire time my eyes were closed. I was having problems just opening my eyes to look around. And so they brought me to my room. And they put the beds next to each other, and they ask you to kind of like shuffle your weight onto the bed, not to actually lift your butt up or anything, but like move your shoulders, move your legs, move your shoulders, slide your hips, kind of like really wiggle across the bed. And the other bed was a lot more comfortable. It was less hard, but the pain in my back was still there. And then right away they come in and they take your vitals to see your blood pressure and your pulse. And all I kept telling them, and I was like, it hurts my back, and they were telling me, we can't give you anything else, you've already had the maximum, we can't give you anything else, you're gonna have to wait. They said we can bring you Tylenol, but the Tylenol is either in pill form or you're gonna have to swallow it, and I wasn't able to swallow anything, so it was like, deal with it. So I ended up jacking up my bed almost to like a sitting position, because I was like, I need to take the pain off my back. It helped a little bit, but I can't say that it helped a lot. And so I basically just sat there with like closing my eyes, waking up, closing my eyes, waking up. And then they told me, I don't know if they told me or I decided that I wanted to sit up straight to see if it would help. So I ended up sitting up straight as much as I could. and they had brought me some water in a little 30 milliliter cup. Well, they brought me a cup of water, and I had a little cup of a little 30 milliliter cup, and they had filled up the 30 milliliter cup, and they said try and sip on it because right away you have to try and get some liquid into your stomach. So I was like, okay. Took a little sip just to say, I mean, I couldn't even say that I took 5 milliliters out of the cup. Took a little sip and I swallowed. Didn't really feel anything, but like it didn't hurt or anything. So then I waited a little while and I took a little sip again, and then I waited a little while, and then I started not feeling super great. I started warning my dad, I'm not feeling super good. I think I'm going to be sick. And so he buzzed for the woman, and then my nausea passed, but the woman came, the nurse came, I keep saying the nurse came, and she brought a little dish in case I was sick. She said, just relax, try and drink water slowly, and so I waited a little while again, took another little sip of water, and I mean, like, I'm slurping the top layer of this little cup, just to say I'm drinking something, and then I didn't feel good, and then I was sick. And it was not nice because there was other people in the room all standing there staring, watching me be sick. I mean, it's not like I was, like, after drinking sick because, no, I didn't have anything in my stomach. But I still was sick, and I remember looking in that little cup, and there was blood all over the little cup, and I totally freaked out. But the nurse came. My dad called for the nurse, and the nurse came, and she just kind of, like, it's normal. They just cut your stomach off. So it's normal that there's a little bit of blood. But thankfully, that was the only time I was sick. I felt nauseous after that, but that was the only time I was actually sick. And since I've been operated, that's the only time I've been sick. And so then the rest of the time was just basically falling asleep, waking up a little bit, falling asleep, waking up a little bit. They brought me, when I was able to have another shot of Demerol, which I couldn't wait to have, and then that took away the pain, a layer of the pain. I could still feel it, but it was a lot less intense. And my dad eventually left so that he could go home and get some sleep because he was working that night or early the next morning. And so I had basically my entire afternoon to myself and the night. I found it hard because I was telling myself, it was like really, if I had a moment of regret, it was that afternoon, and I would say the next morning of, what did you do? Like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And it really hit me like right in the emotions, and I ended up crying, and the nurse came by and she was telling me, she goes, don't worry about it. It's the anesthesia that makes people feel really sad, and it's okay. And she ended up closing the curtain so I could cry in peace. And I just thought, what was my thinking? I did this, and now I'm never going to be able to drink water for the rest of my life. So that was my evening, and as soon as I could take my shots of Demerol, I was taking them, and they were giving me Gravol as well because I was feeling really nauseous. And following that, I made it through the night. Only at one point I felt sick. I ended up calling the nurse because I thought I was going to be sick, but in the end I was fine. And the next morning, they bring everyone their breakfast, and they kept bringing me apple juice and water and broth, but I never even just considered, the broth was not even a consideration. And the doctor's assistant came and saw me in the morning and told me that if I was able to drink during my day, then I would be fine to go home, and she was signing my release, so I was able to go home on condition that I drank I had to drink at least 30 milliliters per hour for them to say, you can go home. So I tried drinking slowly, and the water, it just felt like a rock in my stomach each and every time. So I was like, instead of the water, I'll try the apple juice and see if the apple juice goes down. So I took a couple sips of apple juice, and it was like night and day. I was able to drink the apple juice without any problem. Of course, very, very small. I would say 5 milliliter swallows at a time because I was just so scared. But the water, I could feel it going down. It was really rough, whereas the apple juice kind of glided down. I don't know why. It's just kind of strange, but I'm glad the apple juice saved me. And when I got to the afternoon, I was feeling a lot better. The pain was a lot less. I was still having some pain, but it was tolerable compared to what it was the day before. And I just kept drinking my apple juice, and they eventually told me, look, you're probably going to be better off at home. Keep doing what you're doing. Go and sleep at home in your own things and in your own bed, and if ever there's anything, you can come back. There's no problem. So I called my boyfriend. My boyfriend came and got me, and they gave me all of my papers and my prescriptions that I would need over the coming weeks, and I went home. So I left the hospital and I immediately went to the pharmacy to go and get my medication. And basically my medication was injections of Lovenox, which is a blood thinner. I have to do that for 2 weeks. And it's just because after a surgery, seeing as how your body is healing, you have more tendency to create blood clots. And seeing as how you're not moving a lot after a surgery, they really want to not risk that happening. So I have injections of Lovenox that I have to take. I have Gravol pills that I can take. Upon needed, they gave me Demerol pills, which I only took a couple of, and then I just swapped it out for Tylenol because, first of all, I find Demerol pills really strong. So I only took a couple of those. I have Tylenol in liquid format because in the beginning, swallowing a pill seems like something you're never going to be able to do, but... And then besides that, I have other pills for constipation, which I haven't needed. And quickly, just like that, I think that's basically the medication that I have, besides my vitamins that I need to take. So I can say that I don't have pain anymore. In the beginning, when I would drink, I would get like these little micro cramps, almost like as if you were gonna like hiccup when you have like those false hiccups that don't actually turn into like real full-blown hiccups, but it's like a little cramp that lasts like 2 seconds and then it goes away. And the first couple of days, as soon as I would drink something, right away I could hear my stomach come to life. It was like you could hear my entire intestines gargling and making noise, and it was kind of weird because I'd be sleeping and as soon as I'd wake up, it's like my stomach would wake up at the same time and I could feel all my intestines like gargling. And so that was the day of the operation. The regret is not there as the same as it was before. Basically what I'm thinking now, the stage of regret, which is not regret, I would say, is, am I ever going to be normal? Am I ever going to be able to eat? Maybe not like I did before because that was the problem, but am I going to be able to eat like something, like take a bite of something and not have to worry and just swallow it? Because right now I'm still on a liquid stage of I drink Gatorade and soups, and so am I ever going to able to eat something hard? But it's not like, oh my god, what did I do? You just ruined your life. It's more like I'm looking forward to being normal. Since I started my pre-op diet 10 days before my operation, I've lost 21 pounds from the pre-op diet to the operation, so at least I can see that the scale is moving in the right direction. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to, I would say, skipping forward into 1 year and seeing where I am and how I'm feeling. And yeah, so that was my operation day. I'm gonna do other videos each week. I'm going to try and do one each week and tell you where I'm at, what I'm eating, how I'm doing, and yeah, let's start with that and see where that goes. So for anyone who is thinking about getting the surgery, I hope this helps you, or anyone who is unsure about what it's going to be like. I hope I was completely honest and it makes you see a little bit about what the experience could be like. But I mean, this is my experience. This is what I went through. It doesn't mean that anybody else's experience is going to be exactly the same or even any parallels at all. Another thing I wanted to mention was I got thrush in my mouth. If you don't know what thrush is a mushroom in your mouth. And basically what happened is they sterilize you so much. They sterilize your mouth, they sterilize your stomach, that the tiniest spore got into my mouth somehow and gave me a mouth infection. So I've been dealing with that as well. I went yesterday to the doctor and I had to get this rinse that I have to do 4 times a day for the next 2 weeks of every time I eat, brush my teeth, rinse my mouth with this crap. I can swallow some of it, spit out the rest of it. So that was just another cherry on top. But yeah, so if ever you have an operation and you feel like your tongue is burning and it gets all white and your mouth feels gross, get that checked out because it's mushrooms that you need to get taken away. They said it's not contained. It's like a yeast infection, but in your mouth. So you need to get that looked at, which I did. So that was just another kicker. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope it was very informative, and I hope you come back for more. Bye.